Q1 business reports are in. And as you see, 80,000 jobs gone. 80,000, just like that. Boom. Pushing towards 150 maybe this year. That's a pretty big deal. But here's the weird part about that. This is sort of the twist of the whole thing. Nobody's panicking. It's like came out earlier this week. I haven't really seen much about it. Certainly haven't read it on the news or seen it on the traditional news anyway. You see some on the internet about it, but it's interesting. I was watching a Diary of a CEO video earlier today, and they were talking about floating the notion that maybe AI people that are developing this stuff are just sort of hyping the hell out of it to get us all scared so they can have people invest in it like it's going to change the world. And if you don't do it, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything else. We've talked about this before and other videos here, this whole fear around AI. And so the game appears to be changing a little bit. If you look at the way some of these things go, I've got 7 different newspaper articles I want to look at today to sort of set this up. So I'll be looking at them with you. And so we're going to start out right now. Here we go. The biggest thing about all this is, in fact, this 80,000 jobs right off the bat. Are they AI related, though? Roughly around 20,000. Restructuring, over 70,000. Wait a minute. I thought AI was going to be the problem. Is restructuring the problem? So right away, this isn't what we're thinking it is. This is something about companies firing people because AI just suddenly showed up. And so what are the cost-cutting measures being attributed to? The company needs to invest in AI. And so this isn't making much sense at this point. We're investing in this thing that is blowing up everything in the world as far as investment and everything. They are twice overvalued, the actual worth of the company, despite the investments in them. You see a lot about that, how ChatGPT can run out of money and all this. So only thing that can help them is to keep that hype going, perhaps, because it appears that we've got businesses that are sort of following this trend that AI is coming to take everybody's jobs. So we have to invest in it. And the only way we can do that is to ease our bottom line by getting rid of, all the employees and all their various charges. So what is the point here? If we can have efficiency by having everything automated, and then we have people without jobs, without any kind of basic plan for that, which is nobody seems to be talking about this realistically, it's just not adding up. So if we follow the money, look at Meta here, right? They cut 8,000 jobs. Then they say directly the money is being relocated to AI infrastructure. They just simply moved it, all right? So then instead of paying for the employees, now they're paying for AI so that they don't have to have the employees. And so I guess overnight, all these people became useless because all of this grand automation that we never heard about that actually took place. We just hear that it's going to happen. So you look at this next one. We have across big tech. We're looking at something like 700 billion going to AI this year. That's 700 billion. That's a lot of money. So when you hear about layoffs, your brain goes, oh my God, what is this all about? It isn't weakness. It isn't the system falling apart. The money didn't disappear. It's being moved from one group of people to another group of people through this system of this sort of generated AI fear that demands investment in it, not only in the companies that are producing it, but then the companies themselves invest in it. The other companies like Meta and anybody else that we could be talking about, here's tons of them. Google, they did the same thing. So what am I trying to say is happening here? If you look down at this one, look here. They tell us this is all about AI. They say things like efficiency, cost discipline, and overcorrection from hiring. Remember a couple of years ago, everybody went nuts and like doubled their hiring. I think it was if Meta, they went from something, I'll just use a random number, like 20,000 to like 80,000 in that time period. So even if they were to go back 20,000 jobs, like maybe they're quoted in here doing, that still only takes them back a little bit in time. And so what exactly happened? What did they replace? Why did they not hire in the first place? Especially when you see news by Meta that they're deciding to bring in 7,000, I think it was, or 10,000 interns. Well, now that's convenient. Let's get rid of the traditional employees and all their costs, get a bunch of college interns or whatever in here to do it for free. So this work still gets done, and we'll invest in AI. To do what? You have interns doing that now. I mean, it's just not. There's something else below all of this that I'm wondering if we're really getting the story right on this AI fear hype thing. I'm not downplaying AI. Believe me, I've been in this thing for a long time myself, right? Everybody say it here all the time. I've been a remote worker for 29 years, self-employed, working only on .coms and things like that. I'm not a Luddite in that regard, but I just don't see this really going the way this horror movie is being written. It's starting to sound like a horror movie and not a reality. Maybe at least not yet, not like this. It's like we're lemmings just jumping off this AI cliff. these businesses. So what's the incentive? All right. Now, here's where things really get interesting. So if they are to then cut these jobs, their stock goes up. So investors are actually benefiting at the loss of working people. And the companies are taking that money that they didn't really spend, they just gained by virtue of removing the cost of the employees to invest it into AI. So those same people that are maybe in the same stock market, and I'm not trying to turn this into anti-Wall Street, but who knows? But so you have one bunch of people over here that's completely profiting off all of this, what could also be considered fear mongering, right? Has anybody seen an AI innovation other than the automation that they have at factories and some of the places like Amazon and all that? We're not really seeing a lot of this anyway. I know now as a counselor that I am in the state that I'm a counselor, they have a big AI summit coming up this summer to tell everybody about how to use AI in healthcare. I've been doing that for quite a while now. I'm certified in that. Now they're going to get all these practices to invest in what? AI, so they can what? Evaluate clients better, so then they can what? Coach them better in drug and alcohol treatment? Good luck with that. Good luck with that, ChatGTP. Talk about an intimate space of trust that has to be built between a counselor. I mean, if you find one, they're rare. If you find one that's actually worth their salt and cares about the person, instead of just, but they're themselves basically an AI already automated on manuals and everything you learn and wherever. If they never really been in this mix for a long time and worked with individuals, you're never going to get a chatbot like that because the chatbot never actually did these things itself. It can't. And so, again, you're going to have a bunch of people that are investing in these AI platforms for what? We're not radiologists, And so it goes back that now we go back to the company is now to layoffs. The stock goes up. Okay. That's what we see here in these tabs that we're looking at here. That's used to mean something though, right? It used to mean if I needed to fire my employees or lay them off, something was wrong. But it's not wrong. It's a business incentive because it allows you to keep your cash, invest it into a place that's worth it because you could probably, I don't even know how exactly this would work, but it's writing it off as far as a purchase that's within the company. So you're not paying taxes on these so-called now profits, which aren't profits. They're just merely there because you don't have employees. And then boom, your stock price goes up. And so again, that happens. And then, it's just this big wheel of sort of money redistribution in a very interesting way to where it sort of stays in its own camp in one way. And then by virtue of doing it that way, this other camp explodes. Meanwhile, all of these 70,000, 80,000 people are out of a fucking job. I mean, come on. This is not the problem of the politicians. All right. This is not about businesses should be regulated by the government. This is about the people demanding that government implement whatever needs to be done or to at least have some kind of basic safety bar for these folks that are suddenly out of work. And especially if you get back to the larger conversation here, we have a Gen X men about too old to start over, too broke to retire type of talk. Right. And that's a real thing right now because nobody's hiring. Hell, they're laying them off for no other reason, basically, than to invest in AI. I wonder if they also hold AI stocks. I think that the American people are dropping the ball. We need to demand that our government does what is best for us instead of just electing them on a prayer and they turn around and do everything in the world except pay attention to something like this. Nobody in the news is talking about the fact that this is going on like this. And at the same time, that this is all being basically done as forms of restructuring. And as far as the layoffs go, that's a vague term. It's not because of cause of these people. They're not saying that they are outdated. And if you look at the actual numbers of the companies that are declaring this stuff, if you go incrementally through them, you'll notice the jump doesn't really go that much more when you hit AI. But when you click on that restructuring button, boom, that is where that is the reason that companies are laying these people off. They're saying it's AI, and the media is covering this as if AI is causing this. But restructuring is what's causing this. And yet, yes, when they do restructure, they do invest in AI. So, that helps AI stocks in that way. And also helps their bottom line because their shareholders are happy and their CEO is fat and it gets to stay in his position and they don't have to worry about anybody else. They can be just like the people that are developing AI itself. They can be like, oh my God, I made this horrible, horrible monster. I'm out of here, man. I'm going to take my millions down and go live in, Tahiti or wherever. Thanks. I built a fire in the front room so we could pop popcorn. It got out of control. I'm moving next door, family. Bye. Really? And so The contradiction here is just goes on and on. Hiring. Amazon's hiring. Google is hiring. They're both laying people off. But look down here. It's not the same. They're not eliminating work. They're just selecting a different workforce. Some of it is automation, yes. Bring it back all to the beginning here. Back to this layoff tracker, right? 80,000 gone in Q1. But the problem is that's not a problem, apparently. Nobody's talking about it. And they're saying it's going to be 150 by the end of the year. Sounds like it's a problem. I guess that's just what the system looks like now, right? That's it. We're just supposed to suck it up, right? I did a video a few weeks ago, a month and a half ago, or whatever it was, my brother, we called it AI, the last great leveling opportunity for Gen X. And I still truly believe that in a lot of ways, especially if you want to do things the way that I did and get the hell out. Just say, you know what? I'm not running from anything. I'm going to go find a better place to live for a while. It's like greener grass, fresh air, different conversation, things like that. And that's how I wound up an expat. I've been gone now 6 years. And for those kinds of, and plenty others, even if you're at home, staying wherever you're at, there are lots of ways you can use AI to help you today to level up, so to speak. And so for us as Gen X, isn't that sort of on our CV? Resilient, come home from school, let yourself in, make your own ham sandwich, whatever it might be, rub some dirt on it. No bike helmets after dark, street lights, running off of curbs, all this stuff, ramps in the backyard, building tree forts. We really did do all that shit. We really did do all those things. It's not just something that came out of Ferris Bueller's Day Off or some earlier kind of movie like that. But that's our calling card, resiliency. And I think that we are stuck in this middle situation where the older ones, the boomers, are probably, they're as set as they're going to get at this point, probably. The younger ones, they've got a circus going on, but they've got a lot more time to figure it out, particularly being all the way down to Gen Z. And then ones after that, they got a lot of time to figure this out, But this isn't like the '08 crash when everybody freaked out and the government started, helping Fannie Mae and all this other. I mean, that was just a nightmare. This is like a slow death drip that is now the baseline. It's the new normal, I guess, that we just sort of replaced so that others can make more money. And if all this efficiency happens, how are we supposed to buy any of these products that don't require all the costs involved so they could work them because they never have to take a day off because they never get sick. So they never have to pick up their mom at the airport. They never have to take their wife to the OBGYN or whatever it might be, or take their kids to band practice. No, robot will never have to do any of that. It can sit in that damn place forever and do it. And that might be a day we're coming to, but it isn't right now. And it's certainly not happening at this clip. 150,000 jobs would be just randomly restructured out for what appears to be nothing more than another major money grab from working America and a hell of a lot of white collar. I'm not trying to just say this is Joe Blow down at the hardware store, if there even is a hardware store, listen to me, or whatever happened to True Value. In closing, I just got to say, this is an interesting thing. I don't know. I'm sure some other people probably covered this. I hope people start to talk about something like this. I would like to get Troy on here and get his feedback on it. He'll see this. Hi, Troy. I hope you're feeling better. We'll get back to this topic. Be sure to do all the stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Be sure to comment. I love reading the comments below. I comment quite a bit from time to time, reply. So leave a comment. What do you think about all of this? I'm sure there's a lot of other people that see similar patterns here. They're going under the radar. Once again, and if you're a hairband person, sorry, we're the British wave heavy metal crowd, my brother and I. It's like when they sort of hit, it's like the music never doesn't matter anymore now. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you look. And so it all looks like we're reacting to the scare of AI is coming to get us. And this is just the way it's going to happen. Just don't pay attention, man. It doesn't really matter any, man. And you're not real anymore. We lost the real person. Like Troy likes to say, I like rock and roll when you can still be ugly. Where would Motorhead have gone? At any rate, that's all I got. I'll see you next time. And